Hello and welcome to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever. This is a ladder match on the classic map Open Palms. We have a classic player, StayBeNice, better known as Mad Mozart, long-time top 1v1 player, who after a break has come back playing again. And he's playing Cybran as always. I don't think he ever plays any other faction actually on ladder. Seems like the Russians like their Cybran play. And over here we have Yudi, Setner, one of the best around, and also a very good 1v1 player, which is unusual for Setner. Very creative player, plays in many ways, can do many things. On settings, he will often play survival settings and just sit in his base making T3 mexes until he can 1v4 his opponents with a game ender. Fun to watch, he's pulled it off several times. And he's going Aeon in this map, this particular match. I don't know if he goes random or if he chooses factions. Probably random. That is the norm on settings as well. You can actually see Yudi pull off some nice cheesy tactic on Medicraze's channel. Some play of the week video with Yudi, and involves some T2 bombers on the ladder. We won't have any T2 bombers because we have Aeon. Just have Mercies instead. So let's see the opening. Yudi gonna make a 1 P-gen walk to Hydra. Let's see the build. Expanding and has a tank out quite quickly to defend. Look for sneaky labs. Mad Mozart, same thing. Walking after 1 P-gen and all the mexes in a factory. Goes to the Hydra. Concentrates all his build power in the one location. Begins building his base. He's gone second land. Yudi has also gone second land. As Aeon, it's often a bit more dangerous to go second air, or more dangerous to go second land and not second air, because your tanks are much more vulnerable to air attack, so it can be risky. And just being later in air can have an impact not just at the start, but later on you might be behind in air production because you started a bit later, but both of them choosing to go third air, so shouldn't have too much impact unless people are, well, one, mass stalling. Mass stalling is a common way to lose air because your production slows down. You could also, we might see additional air factories for someone and assisting on the air factory, so we shall see what happens. But right now we have a Mantis moving. This NG is being very carefully monitored by the bodyguard. The Mantis is coming for him. There's a scout, so we'll have to see. Now you can see Mozart using the air scouts very well, using them to spot what's going on ahead of this Mantis. And he knows there's an Aurora here now, and also the Aurora knows he's there. So Yudi's gonna have to micro quite carefully with his Aurora. On the other side, as he's microing on the left, he doesn't micro on the right, but he does enough damage and finishes off the Mantis with the Engineer. That's a nice defense there, and now he has more Aurora moving across. The early game of Open Palms is really all about these expanding engineers here. The most valuable thing you have on the map, basically, and your tanks have to be focused on defending them and attacking your opponent's equivalent engineers. Look, we have two here, and this is one of the difficulties for an Aeon player. The tanks, Auroras, are not good in this kind of scenario. Auroras are better in large groups, and they don't have the speed to run across the map here, and attack, and also when they do attack, they have to attack from a longer range. If they have even numbers, they have to be able to use the range, so you have to sort of move in and then kite away. So it's quite difficult to actually make ground up in the early game and attack. To raid, you really have to gather a group of 5 or 6 of them, always with the Land Scout, and then try and attack some specific point and overwhelm your opponent's forces there. And again, the Land Scout is another problem. If you lose the Land Scout, you can't attack into enemy territory at all unless you can have some Air Scout overhead perpetually giving you vision. And there goes the Land Scout. And Yudi's gonna have to retreat now. On the right, many more Mantis for Mozart, and he's just running in on top of these Aurora, taking them out. The Engineer's gonna die. The expansion, likely all the mexes will die. Over here, Yudi did well to save this Engineer. Mozart was very sneakily sending a Mantis along the edge of the map, but Yudi is wise to it. And here's another one battle for Mozart after the Land Scout was taken out. Yudi is in a pretty bad situation and couldn't escape, but it's still pretty even trade though, even though Yudi had less numbers there. It's from what I saw, and here looks like the Mantis will be going down very shortly, and Engineers are already on their way across to try and expand. Yudi now sending his ACU across and some Mantis and some Aurora. He's grabbed his expansion mexes and immediately left after that. Another air factory added for Mozart. Still no T2. You'll often see T2 quite quickly when you're versus Aurora, because once you're in a battle, for example like this, now this is a bad formation from Yudi. He's horizontal to the Mantis, but he's reacting well and he has a couple of scouts in there, so he should be fine. But once you're in these kind of battles where it's like 10v10 tanks, the Aurora really start to get very dangerous as they take out Mantis from out of range. But Yudi is getting run down, and a lot of his Aurora are actually out of range at the time. So not the best formation, but still he can kite away and do some damage, and then afterwards, after kiting away, you can attack move back into your opponent's tanks. And he does clean this up, and there's reclaim building up on this side now, but Yudi is being consistently denied this expansion. It's quite bad for him. Some reclaim left here. Yudi, maybe a slightly ill-advised push, and Mozart's comm is actually on the left. I completely forgot about that. I had noticed when I saw the engineers, 2 engineers moving to the right, but of course failed to mention it. And now Mozart, I presume, had walked over here, built this expansion, now has come back to find the ACU encroaching in his territory. Yudi doing the right thing. You have to have a lot of your army nearby, ready for this eventuality. Otherwise, you may just be suiciding. Can't be affording to send most of your tanks to this side. If you're being aggressive with the ACU on this side, you just can't afford that. Here we have those Aurora that walked ahead of the commander, getting the whole way to the back base, but there is already a factory up, and a bomber ends that problem. This PD, very valuable. There's no fervors to take care of it, and so progress can't be made. Now with that extra air factory also being assisted by many engineers, Mad Mozart is taking complete control of the sky, and he's employing the Zeus bombers, the worst T1 bombers, but they still can do a job. See attempts at dodging, but it's difficult. The larger the army, the harder it is to dodge meaningfully. Look at that drop. What the hell? Bombers are so bizarre in this game. Yudi now finally has some space. Because Mozart sent a lot of stuff to the left here, he actually seems to have quite not so many tanks. Yeah, only 38 tanks right now, which is not that much, but the bombers are going to do a lot of work. And now, actually, Yudi making a bit of a, well, a bad misplay there with his air, unfortunately. Mozart was protecting his bombers well, providing a lot of cover, and took out a lot of interceptors from Yudi. It's going to be a while before he can get back into the air game. And we have the mobile anti-airs coming out. I think you should, as an AM player, be mixing in anti-airs anyway. Just a couple to prevent bombers from getting two passes. Now, AM bombers can be one-shot by T1 bombers. You can take them out, but of course they can dodge quite well. And now we have the static AA turrets going up, and they're going to completely deny many areas. Look at the bombs. Half this army is wiped out in 2 passes. Power of the bomber. 9 kills on this one. 7 kills on this one, and now goes down. 12 kills on this. 16 kills. And now it goes down, and the inties need to be saved. Looks like the attack is switching now to the right side. Oh no. No, no, no. No, 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 no. Oh god. Well, RIP, the Air Force. Now we have T2 PGen going up. T2 land is finally finished. T2 land was never the plan for Mozart. He's gone skipping T2 land completely, going to T3 as is common strategy. Yudi, not at T2 yet. He's almost there. And we also have no mechs upgrades from Yudi either. Because Open Palms is, as it says in the name, open, mechs upgrades are often punishable by death. Mozart has found the time though to get a couple. At some point you do need to start ecoing on this map once you are happy with your map control and you realize that a few more T1 tanks for your opponent is not going to lead to you losing an expansion for an extended period of time, for example, or any real map control loss, then you can begin ecoing. That's basically the rule. Do I have all my mexes? Check. Will I lose many of them if I try and upgrade a mex? Probably not. Well then, let's make some eco. Or how much map control will I lose if I go to T2 land? Not much. Well, okay then. We go T2 land, and then in a few minutes I'll have a superior army. So it's all about, well, understanding how much danger you might be in and what sort of advantage you can gain from taking a bit of a risk and going up to the next tech, or making some more economy. Sacrificing something in this minute so that you can have a nice advantage in a couple minutes time. Yudi is now ecoing. We have 2 mechs upgrading right now. 1 already finished, and he's actually ecoing at the back as well. Always risky to eco at the back this early on. I much prefer ecoing these front mechs because mechs are very vulnerable. There's no production nearby here generally, although later into the game you will see people transition all these engineers which are reclaiming into assisting some T2, T3 factory at the back. That happens quite often. It's a good way to use your build power. But this early on, there's not going to be a T3 factory back there, or a T2. So it can be risky, and certainly versus the loyalists, they can get right in behind and do a lot of damage. So on the sides we have, oh, look at that. That little drop in waiting. I think it's been forgotten about. Here's a drop onto this plateau. Yudi has not yet grabbed these mexes. Just grabbing them now. He's as you can see, sucking this reclaim. There is significant amount of reclaim. Let's actually see how much there is. Some of it's already gone. That says 6k mass reclaim. And 5k there. And much more power as well. These trees are sort of forgotten about generally. Also, they seems to suddenly get snowy when you zoom in a bit. Is that all? Did that always happen? Have I not noticed this before? Sorry, I'm just filling time because we've reached the position where the game slows down a bit. People have their map control and they have to find more interesting ways to attack if they want to do damage than just trying to avoid the army, because the army is now so large that you effectively can't avoid it. And also there's a lot of radar coverage allowing people to react. So we have 7 loyalists split up around the map. These loyalists are in danger here. Need to always avoid the ACU with your early T3 land, so it will get overcharged. That's a drop. Going to the back, he's seen the T2 mexes, which is very important. Many players are not even aware of when these mexes are getting teched, and so fall behind in eco unknowingly. Now, a big push here. A lot of T1 land being chewed up, but these 2 loyalists are the key. They need to be running past here and attempt to get to the back. Oh, the PD, yeah, it's gonna finish. There's too many engineers here, but if these loyalists have the chance to run past to the back and kill T2 mexes. Because the PD is in the middle, he could attack from outside the range of the PD and kill the mass extractors, but he's been idling them slightly, and Yudi is coming with the commander and he overcharges the healthy one. The other one is on 900 HP and is retreating. And Mozart's T1 army is completely been annihilated. A lot of Aurora still left after that. And Yudi has also now got his Harbingers moving across, and Mozart is not doing damage here. Oh, that's dangerous for the Harb. 2v1 versus Loyas. That's not a good fight for the Harb. A lot of reclaim left on Yudi's side, and he's going to be very happy with how that attack went for Mozart. You can see the risks of attacking. Now maybe this would be worth it. Maybe he didn't have to commit so much with his T1 and use it all in that fight, but if the Loyalists had run past, he could certainly have taken out certainly at least 1 mass extractor, I would say, back here. Maybe 2 or 3 force units in the back. Attack these mexes here. But you can see, to execute a successful attack is not easy. You have to be very precise. Have to do the exact right things at the right time, otherwise you may just be donating. This push here cleaned up completely, and now we have a Harb surrounded by... You can see all the Aurora have survived because kiting away from the Mantis, they won the battles. Now that's 2 dead Harbs though, and that's a big win for Mozart to take out both of those. And he has a lot more Loyalists than Yudi has Harbs, and they're being very aggressive as well. The Harbs have the range, have the health, have the damage. They're more expensive, of course, but they're generally just a superior unit to the Loyalists. They match up very well, thanks to their speed, allowing them to kite away a little bit, and the range, of course. In small numbers, we've seen them. Well, in single numbers, they've been overwhelmed. Once you get even two of them together, it gets a lot more difficult for Loyas to get in and surround them early on. Ecoing continues as T3 support factory is added. You have to be careful when you add this T3 support factory that you can actually support it. Mozart has a pretty nicely balanced economy. Probably just needs a bit of reclaim to just a small bit to fund this. Fortunately, Yudi is the one with the reclaim on his side. Not doing the best job grabbing it, has to be said. Could do with a few more engineers. And Yudi, although he got dropped over here a long time ago, you can see he got the PD up and defended with those. And these plateaus are really nice for especially radar. You can put a radar here, put a radar all the way down here in the mountains up here, and you can easily kill these mexes with tanks or arties, T1 arties, and also MMLs can attack the expansion here. But you always got to be careful about investing too much in the plateau and leaving yourself open to the much more dangerous land in the main arena. Another T2 PJ going up under that shield. The Loyalists want to make a push on the left side, but there's 3 Harbs here, and the Auroras are going to take a lot of the fire at the front as the Harbs continue kiting away. One of them goes down. We have 7, 8 Loyalists here and supporting T1 cast. Now, 2 T2PDs here are actually going to make a huge difference. But still, the Harbs, the Harb almost goes down, but it does survive. And yeah, these T1 PDs are doing a lot of work. Still, many Loyalists survive. The range gun upgrade coming from Yudi to try and help take this back. This expansion is completely dead. Oh, look at the walls. The walls doing insane amounts of work. Buffing that PD so much. We have T2 air at the back. And we also have T2 mexes on the side with no T2 tech to build TMD. That is quite dangerous. Let's see what kind of army Yudi has. Well, only eight Harbs right now. It's not looking super good, and actually the shield coming up as well. Yudi does not want to be suiciding versus those Loyalists. They're so dangerous. If they get in at your ACU, you will be dropping very quickly. 25 Loyas, no switch to bricks from Mad Mozart. The longer the game goes, the worse Loyas get versus the Harbs. Again, the bigger the numbers, the more the range impacts the fight. So once you have 6 or 7 Harbs shooting at an army of Loyalists and kiting away, Loyalists start dropping very fast and don't get the opportunity to even get into range. See Yudi with nice micro. Look at that. Loyalist staying right at the edge of the range, getting taken out without doing too much, and now the commander comes in and is going to deal a finishing blow. This army is completely cleaned up, and there's so much reclaim here still, even more now with all these Loyalist wrecks here. Look at that, juicy amounts of reclaim for him to grab, and only T2 T1 mechs is lost, so if grabbed quickly, Yudi should be fine, and he's ecoing hard. Look at this. That's Setner material. Centeneer, perhaps. Look at that, even storaging mexes all over the place. So very risky. There's a lot of potential for damage when you're upgrading so many mexes. I wonder, has Mozart realized how much ecoing is going on? He has pretty significant eco himself. Look at this left side. He's doing a lot of economy on the left side and also has a lot of his army on the left side, but now in range of the commander, he's getting overcharged and the Harbs are pushing back, forcing him away and leaving even more reclaim. It looks a bit dangerous, but this is a powerful attack. 10 loyalists moving on the right side, and there's T2 mexes to kill. He doesn't know there's one here, but he can tell there's two here. He needs to move after those as quickly as he can. But you can see the Harbs just getting, I think, generally favorable fights. Now, Harb does go down there, but we lost 2 loyalists. And just more loyalists planned. Where are the bricks? No T2 air and no bricks. I think this is a bit of a mistake to stay on the loyalists for so long. And that's a T2 drop into the back with the Harbs, the classic Harb drop, which is absolutely devastating. All this eco is dead, the factory is dead. And he can split these up and move to many other mexes, and Mozart without T2 air to quickly respond to that with either T2 transport or his own gunships. Now MML's on the left here to deny the expansion. That's pretty good, and the loyalists finally move out and take out the T2 mechs. I think they're slightly idle for a short while, but now doing the damage. And that's, look at this, Yudi playing to his strengths. T3 mechs on the way, but now T2 gunships, there's no flak in the mix at all. T2 gunships working on the loyalists and some Harbs. Well, the Harbs being suicided a little bit, unfortunately, so we may lose another T2 mechs here, but this will be cleaned up and leave significant amount of reclaim. There's no retreat here. And oh well, there's a lot of air for Mozart. He's moving after this force, and oh my god, look. I wonder if you can have engineers repair walls as they're being shot. It's actually insanely effective. You should try and abuse that in the few situations it's possible. Repair walls as they're being shot, especially versus something like a Rhino. Works very well. I think Yudi has more air here. He also has swift winds mixed in, and oh no, Yudi with the fail micro. He gave a move order and forgot. Moved on to do something else, and Mozart may actually win the fight out of that. If you give a move order and, well, your inties will just stop in midair, stop shooting for a few seconds until they react, and that actually, Yudi should have won that air fight, but he stopped microing, and so he's going to lose all his gunships, but still the loyalists were stopped. Over here, Yudi is under attack from a large group of loyalists. Where did all of the Harbs go? Where did all his power go? He can't overcharge. Only now he gets his overcharge back, but it's too late. He had no energy. Oh my goodness. And again, the loyalist versus the commander. And look, Harbs in the back, killing so much stuff, so much economy lost for Mozart. But oh damn, Yudi just at the last hurdle. I think he was in a really solid position here. Look at the damage these guys have done. 43 kills, 4 vets, 38 kills. These are probably the same Harbs that came from the back after killing that, after being dropped there. And Yudi just stalled at the wrong time. And that is really painful. And he even had a T3 mechs. And this one was probably Yeah, look at that. That was 62% of the way, so, well, maybe slight over-ecoing, a lack of power at the wrong time. Maybe he didn't need to use his commander aggressively, but yeah, well played, both players. Nice game here in Open Palms. Always get nice games here. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you in the next one.